we just watched Batman v Superman yesterday, March 24th, and it was amazing. If you're a fan of DC Comics, of any of these characters, of comic book movies in general, you'll be doing yourself a huge disservice by not seeing this amazing film.
And don't believe the critics, guys. They, like, not to be disrespectful, they suck ass.
Okay, so just to put it simply, like, this movie is amazing. Yeah, it's not perfect, but it's deserving none of the criticism that it's getting in terms of like the 30s and 40s it's getting from some reviewers. Now, let me just start off with the performances. Now, we have the definitive Batman, like, and I'm gonna say it right here. Ben Affleck is the definitive Batman. We haven't seen a Batman this brutal, this well acted. We haven't seen a person who's been able to take on both the Bruce Wayne aspect and the Batman aspect and still do great. So in the film, it is a new take on Batman. He is a lot darker and he's a lot more brutal, and he does, allow killing in this universe. But what Ben Affleck's able to bring to the table is just like a genuine, like, believable performance where he's charming and and everything that you want from a Bruce Wayne, and he's dark and brooding when he's Batman. On top of that, Henry Cavill, of course, does another amazing performance as Superman. I love him as Superman. And the next big surprising performance was Lex Luthor by Jesse Eisenberg. And he's so good.
Absolutely phenomenal.
Like, I know in the trailers, like, he looked like completely awful and he was just like dumb. You're just like, he's probably going to be annoying. But no, he sells his performance amazingly. No doubt he's a different take on the Lex Luthor. He starts off by being this kind of like cocky-ish kid and very unlikable, but at the same time he had this charisma to him where you're just like always wondering more about him. And he was such an interesting villain in this film, and it's just really it's all because of Jesse Eisenberg's amazing performance.
Everything he did, like the facial expression, just the little like ticks and quirks that he did, and even the soundtrack that followed him,
Yeah.
like Hans Zimmer, like everything was spot on.
Yeah, he does a different take, like I was saying, but it's just so beautiful. Like, every scene he's in, he makes you feel uneasy. He's so smart, just like Lex is in the comics, but at the same time, he's interesting. He's young. He has like all these plots, and you never really know what he's thinking. And then on top of that, Wonder Woman, phenomenal by Wonder Woman. Gal Gadot, like, go ahead,
like honestly, like she was. I mean, all of them are literally every single character, even the minor ones, were absolutely phenomenal. Absolutely my favorite, but she was definitely at the very top. Like, coming into the movie, from watching the trailer, I thought that she was kind of gonna be the additional let's bring
woman
a female
power.
Yeah. I mean, no offense, but like, nah, she actually was the one pulling the shit together, and in the final battle, especially with Doomsday, she literally got everyone on board, and the way how she did it was great.
She's so like cool. Like, she looks amazing. The way she, like, her accent is really like attractive, but also at the same time it gives her that like foreign kind of mysterious.
She's sexy but respectable.
There we go. Right, like she just does a phenomenal job, and she's gonna be a great Wonder Woman, and I'm really excited for her film next year. That they did kind of like hint to and set up a little bit in this film. And like she was saying, all the other performances that you see, these were the four main. Well, actually, Lois Lane, of course, does another great job. She, same as you'll see in Man of Steel. Lawrence Fishburne, who was the, Daily Planet main guy, editor. Like, he does another great job. And those are the main characters, and they all do fantastic. Now, let's get into that atmosphere and tone. Now, it's the same. You're gonna have a familiar tone from Man of Steel. It's still gonna be that dark, brooding, like kind of like basically the opposite of all the Marvel movies. Like, you're not gonna leave this movie's not gonna be one where you're just like constantly smiling from like funny joke, right? But it's just it creates such a great atmosphere and tone, and this really fits the characters in the universe that they're creating. They're really creating this distinct DC universe where things are not just sunshine and flowers. Like, it's really phenomenal, and all the cities and their respective like auras are accurate. Gotham feels dark. It's depressing. You know, it feels like there's dangerous. Metropolis feels a little more like happy and a little more like safe, but at the same time it has this kind of uneasiness that's surrounding it. Um, but hopping into that, like the world building that they did, you know, like Man of Steel was an introductory film, and it really was just Superman. They really didn't know what direction they were going in. Batman v Superman changed like a billion times from when it was Man of Steel 2 to like, Batman's gonna be in it, so like Batman's the main character, like to everything. But they really seem like they know what they're doing at this point. The world building is great. They're creating this huge DC universe with all these characters, and all these characters, like for all the future Justice League characters, they have the cameos, of course, that we all knew were coming. The Aquaman and the Flashes, but instead of being
Ezra Miller, I'm sorry. I love you. I know you're never gonna see this video, but I fucking love you.
I believe you'll watch. No, but like, so when we're going into this, everyone's like hearing like, yeah, you know, you're gonna see like, you know, little snippets of them, and we all thought it was gonna be like a millisecond, like literally a millisecond, like, you know, some CG like red streak, and be like, oh, the Flash is here. Like, no, nah, like you see like solid videos of all the characters. Now, when you see a video of like Wonder Woman kind of in the past and stuff, and like some scenes of her, and okay, going into this movie in an IMAX theater like on opening night, it really kind of like brought the fun to it. So when Wonder Woman comes on, right, you just see like an old picture of her in the 1918 or whatever, that's gonna set up her next movie, and everyone's like, Wonder Woman, yeah, yeah, and everyone's like going crazy, and then they see security footage from Flash, and actually see Ezra Miller's face, and he's looking pretty good as Flash. You know, a lot of people are like, nah, maybe, who knows, right? But no, he looks great as Flash, and it's a quick 5-10 second scene, but it shows that like, yeah, they know what the Flash would do.
And from the facial expressions, you can clearly see how his character and how his personality is going to be
like,
kind of, you know, mischievous and quirky.
Yeah, like he still has that like Ezra Miller charisma, but you can tell that this is an actual Flash. It's not just some like dark brooding Flash. Like this guy seems like, you know, the happy-go-lucky kind of Flash he is, but at the same time a smart intellectual. But yeah, the theater goes crazy. So, you know, Wonder Woman comes on, everybody's like, yes, Wonder Woman, and then Flash comes on, and everybody's like, oh, Flash, I can't believe it, and everybody's like literally all of their seats screaming, right? And then
we get to Aquaman. Poor guy.
I felt so bad. Like Aquaman comes on, and you see Jason Momoa, whatever his name is, you know, the cool guy from Game of Thrones, and he comes out, and you know his scene is really simple. You know, they just have like a submarine kind of like camera like coming down and searching him, and he comes out, and he looks, you know, badass, of course. But I've never felt so bad for someone. Literally the whole theater goes silent after like cheering so loud for Flash and Wonder Woman, and you see like Mermaid Man. You see that, you see that Aquaman's coming up, and then literally the whole place goes quiet. Like I'm ready to clap, and I'm like, oh man, Aquaman's coming up, right? And you see the whole place just like go dead quiet, and you're like, who the hell is this mermaid?
Honestly, I didn't know who this dude was. I mean, I didn't even know who what's his name, Cyborg was.
Yeah.
I'm sorry, I'm not a true, you know, fan.
But she has the Shirhan given by me, so she's become a fan. But yeah, like it was really sad because yeah, no one cheered for Aquaman. It was really awkward, like. Except I heard one guy. There's this one lonely guy all the way up in the front. Who was literally just like, yes, yes, and he was like raving to himself, and like good for that guy. And honestly, guys like Aquaman, he's cool. And then comes Cyborg, right? And Cyborg, like they basically showed his origin. They show literally just the little like top of a torso and a head, and they just show his dad, his Stone, right, just working on him, and. Right, and you just see him getting frustrated, nothing's working. And then you see all these like, the alien kind of metals that like go in and like create him, and it's really a brutal scene. You see that like whatchamacallit, that like you see Victor Stone or like Cyborg screaming in pain and agony, and then it cuts off there. So we kind of already know what his origin is going to be in this in this universe, but it was a cool way to show it. But yeah, the world building and the just the cameos that they have, really well done. Really excited for next ones, you know. And afterwards, you know, they're also like, um, they're like, yeah, you know, we'll get into the ending later. But next to that is the story. Now, a lot of people, this is where I'm starting to see some people like complain. And honestly, I don't really see a reason why. Like, I think it was a solid plot. What was it? You know, was it the Dark Knight plot? No, was it, you know, some, you know, Shawshank Redemption, Pulp Fiction, like, you know, whoa, revolutionary plot? No, no, it wasn't. But it did its job, and it did a really good job at what it was. You know, it's simple. You know, you get introduction to these characters. Superman's kind of like, hey, this Batman guy, he's not seeming like he's, you know, doing the right things. He's curious about him. They kind of meet up a little bit, some altercations, some explanations, on their own separate places. They're doing their own respective ways of how they believe to stop the crime. And then here you see in the middle, you see Lex Luthor is like, hey, I'm coming up with all these plots. And literally Lex Luthor is what creates all the problems in this. He's still Superman's mom, Martha, and basically is like, hey, Superman, you're gonna have to kill Batman if you want to see your mom alive. And that's what creates such a brilliant villain. He literally is the one man who's able to make, well, the other one man who's able to literally make Superman go down to his knees, and Superman can't do a thing because Lex Luthor like is written so well in this, where he's powerful enough in terms of just his intellect and his strategic planning, to make Superman just quiver to his needs. So that's where, you know, even though the first hour or so, hour and a half, I would say, is this world building and getting to know the characters and stuff, hopping into that, right? You get to the Batman and Superman fight, which is, you know, the selling point of the movie. And I like one thing they did really well was that they didn't hone in on Batman creating a suit. We all knew Batman was creating a suit. You know, he has the Dark Knight Returns basically as a suit. And they don't hone in like, hey, let's see him for like 30 minutes, like tinkering with things and like getting angry and like, oh, gotta. No, they literally like next scene, and it's really quick. And it's like next scene, you see Batman there doing like opening the bat signal, and you see him shining in the sky, and you're just like, wow, okay, it's coming. And it's a lot more Dark Knight's Returny than I thought. They come up with a lot of gadgets. Superman comes up and he's like, hey, Batman, we need to talk, just like he does in the comics. And then Batman literally has the sonic like ray things come on, and then and Superman gets stunned and then destroys it. Then he has Gatling guns come on and stuff. And then after that, you know, Superman's like pissed, and literally just the scene that we see in the trailers where Batman takes 2 steps back and he's like, and then Superman like tosses him up and throws him down. And what makes this fight great, and what I was afraid of, basically them underpowering Superman to a point where it's stupid, where it's just like, yeah, Batman has a metal suit, and that's somehow powerful enough to, you know, punch this guy who can destroy buildings. But
Exactly.
no, yeah, right? But where it comes in smart is that he basically created kryptonite gas grenades, which weaken him to a point because he's inhaling it, and it's for a limited time until he basically gets it out of his blood system. But he throws a grenade, and Superman doesn't know what to expect. He catches it and breathes it in, and then from there, that's where the fight is more on Batman's side, where Superman's still able to do solid damage. Like he's still able to like punch Batman and hurt him a lot. But it's also at the point where he's slowed down, and Batman's able to do some solid damage. And the choreography in this fight is just like really well done. It's really brutal. It's really like, you know, hand to hand, really cool combat.
It didn't get old. It wasn't boring at all.
Exactly.
Which is what I was fearing for.
Yeah, and it's a quick fight. I'm not gonna lie that it was like, you know, 30 minutes, like, you know, the trailers kind of make it out to be, but we kind of knew, you know, it wasn't just this. But yeah, they have a solid fight, and you know, there's moments where Superman's literally ripping up his suit, Batman's suit, and you see Batman genuinely like, oh man, right? And you see him like, you know, loading up another gas canister. But through, you know, as much as it, you know, it is to say it, like, Batman is clever, and he virtually wins the fight. Now, was Superman holding back a lot of it? Probably. But at the same time, you can tell.
Yeah, like Superman wasn't trying to, you know, he didn't want to kill Batman. He easily could have ripped Batman to shreds. Yeah. But he chose not to.
He chose not to. Yeah. But at the same time, like, Batman did a great job on his end. And it really is Dark Knight's Returns. he doesn't use the kryptonite arrow that Green Arrow shoots at him, but he has like a spear that holds like a kryptonite thing, and then he uses that and basically puts Superman to the ground and is basically like, I'll kill you right now, blah blah blah, and weakens him and virtually wins the fight until that Superman explains that the reason he's even fighting is for Lex. It's because Lex is like has his mom, and this is where it hits on a deep point. The movie does get deep in terms of like there is a lot of emotion behind it. They do go into the origins and like the similarities between the two characters, where you see that like yeah, Superman is in a sense an orphan too, and so is Batman, and they both have things they love, and the basically the comparisons where they both their moms have the same name, Martha. It really hit home, and it really kind of shows the parallels between the two characters, and that they're not as different as you would think. And that's where the movie kind of breaks into, where like, yeah, now we're super friends, ha, yeah, right? And yeah, it goes from there. And then on top of that, then Batman's like, yeah, I'll help save your mom, and then he's like, you have to stop Lex. Lex is doing some crazy-ish like over there, like go check on him. And then it goes into Superman going to find Lex, and Lex, is finishing up with the body of Zod. Another subplot, another like scheme that was all within Lex Luthor's plan. He's like, hey, I'm creating. I went to the wreckage of the Kryptonian ship, and I'm putting Zod's body in there, and basically creating Doomsday. And yeah, that's where it goes. And then Batman goes saves the mom. And let me just say, like, the choreography in terms of Batman, like, this is the most brutal, best looking, like, fighting Batman we've ever seen. Yeah, a lot of it was CG, but like this is somebody played the Arkham Knight games, or the Arkham series, because like that's literally the kind of combat you saw. You see him throwing all these things, destroying all the guns. You see him punching. Like the problem I had a lot with like the Nolan films, like even though phenomenal films, most of them, the fighting was lame. Like just purely like the fighting was like weak. Batman's like, I have hockey gloves, like and then like what Batman voice, just yeah. I am Batman. I'm Batman. Bane. Right? Christian Bale. Christian Bale, you're so good. But like, yeah, but this one, he's literally taking people's arms, cracking them. He doesn't care. He's breaking people's bones. He literally. And things, he doesn't care about these people dying, because this is the older, gritty, like Dark Knight Returns-y Batman, where he's like, in one scene, a grenade is thrown to the side, and Batman is just letting this guy blow up, because he's like, I don't care. Is he going out of his way to shoot people in the head and kill them? No. But if somebody dies while he's doing this, he's just like, that's just what they deserve. And it's just really cool to see a Batman that's so brutal, and like it fits the tone of this movie. And getting into that, let's just go to the final act of this movie, which was the Doomsday fight. And I know everyone was like scared that this was gonna suck so bad, like terrible. Even me, I was like, yeah, this Doomsday looks like a Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtle. This is the ugliest little like nasty thing I've ever seen.
What I thought was that there would be a lot of buildup with the Batman and Superman fight, and that there would be like 30 minutes of that, and literally like 5 minutes, or like 2 minutes of Doomsday fighting, and then he just gets defeated. But no, it was much more than that.
Yeah, like you really like think like, oh yeah, when they're gonna shoehorn this in, right? There's too many plots and everything. But no, they didn't. Doomsday was like dope. Like he's so good.
He actually scared me.
Yeah, like because you don't see the full Doomsday. The way they portrayed him in the first of all, they shouldn't have had him in the trailers. Second of all, the way they portrayed him in the trailers looks so crappy. And his CGI is not that bad that they show in the trailers. They show one bad screen of him, and I don't know why they decided to choose that one. But pretty much they keep the accuracy of the character. He grows spikes. Don't worry, like he grows spikes on his body. He's whenever they have fights, and as he like dies, he comes back and grows stronger spikes and gets stronger. And just everything with this fight is so amazing, because at first Superman's not in the picture right now, or no, like Superman is fighting, and Batman is trying to elude Doomsday, and everyone's trying to do their own part, and Wonder Woman shows up just like in the trailers, and after seeing all this wreckage happening, where she was on a flight, a Turkish Airlines flight, probably back to her homeland, which we looked up, and probably near Turkey and Greece and all that islands, and yeah, whatever, right? But yeah, she shows up, and the fight, like, I was scared that was just gonna be like a stupid CGI, like, hey, let's just hack and slash at some big villain and kill him in 2 seconds. No, no, this fight goes on for a long time, and it's really brutal. You know, the way Superman fights, like, you see he's genuinely mad. He's storming up. He's like punching him. He's using his heat vision, everything. And then you see Wonder Woman. Like, Wonder Woman is so cool. Like,
The only one in the whole fight who didn't seem like really phased at all was her. Like she was literally like, fucking smiling when she was fighting, and whenever Doomsday would hit her, she would just smirk and fight back. It was amazing.
it's just
Girl power, but
it's just so cool because Wonder Woman is like smiling the whole fight, and she's using all her weapons. They really do an accurate representation of her. She uses her
everything but the tiara.
yeah, except the tiara, because tiara's a little like much. But yeah, no, she has the
She'll
lasso.
probably use it during the Justice League film though.
Yeah, that would be good. But yeah, no, she uses the lasso of truth. She uses her bracelets. She uses her sword and her shield, and she's just literally like whacking at him, and like he's getting hit and pushed back, and she's like, nah, and then she runs up and attacks. And the funny part about this fight is like, yeah, the Batman aspects is like you see in the trailers, like he's just like with a little gun, and everyone's like, wait. Batman, like, get out of here, man! Like, what you doing there, bud? But like, nah, like the reason he has it is because he has the kryptonite grenades, and it makes sense what he's doing. But it's just really funny to see. They do take play. They do explain that like, yeah, Batman's just a guy. And it's I kind of giggled a little bit when Doomsday is getting ready for another blast. And then Superman's ready to tank, Wonder Woman's ready to tank, and you see Batman just like running like so scared as like a person. He like runs on, he like rolls, he's like rolling into like a little like corner and just like oh right, and then it's just like a blast goes off, and then Batman's just like oh, and then but yeah, it just shows the brutality of the fight, and the way they end it and they kill him, you know, makes sense. Like the only way to really kill him was to stab him with kryptonite, and yeah, like it was just it's great that they didn't just like, hey, yeah, we have a villain and we'll just punch him to death and he'll be done. And they didn't, like, I think it was a perfect villain for this film where he doesn't have that much of a backstory in terms of like one that really matters as much. Like they explained it enough, and yeah, he's just a brute. He's just a big monster that you fight, and there's not like, hey, he's there's deeper aspects to his psyche, and he's basically the Joker. He's like the alternate parallelism. Not. He's just like a big brute villain, and like the fact that
I feel like the movie left that to Lex Luthor.
yeah, Lex Luthor is like by far the best villain.
He was like the Batman versus Superman version of the Joker. I mean, no, I didn't mean to compare.
He's equivalent to that level.
Yeah, he's like in the same species.
Not as good as like Heath Ledger, but like he still does, like he has potential to reach that level at some point.
I mean, no doubt they have their own takes on their own separate characters, but they were both equally phenomenal in the crazy ass characters that they played.
Yeah, and on top of that, like Lex Luthor's like balding. That was just like a cool way to do it, because I know in the comics it's like Superman, like Lex bald because he hates Superman, and then Superman makes him lose his hair, and that's why he's mad. Yeah, whatever. Like, him getting shaved at the end of the movie because of him going to jail and everything. That was a cool way to put that scene, and a good way for Lex to like kind of reach the next stage of what he's going to become the Lex Luthor we kind of more recognize. And his final kind of quotes where he's just like crazy and like screaming and everything, it shows that like he's not done, and he's gonna become he's gonna become that like running villain of like
his mentality is growing.
Yeah, and he's gonna be so good. And yeah, Batman at the end hopping in there, using his fear tactics and everything, and Lex kind of scared, and then like fighting back, like it's just great and amazing. Going to that, just talking about the ending, and the ending, at first I was like, yeah, this is probably one of the only aspects of the movie I could really just be like, it might not be cool, because Superman dies, and when I saw that I was like, okay, I literally feel zero emotion for this, because Superman's not dead. Like, Superman literally is the home of the Justice League.
Okay, hold on. What I was thinking about was that, when they had the funeral, you know what I did not really like was the fact that they gave him like a soldier style funeral.
Yeah, like I understand they're like, oh yeah, all they knew was to make him a soldier and stuff. But I was like,
Even
whatever.
Wonder Woman pointed that out. Was smart girl.
Yeah, and greatest like Bruce Wayne and like Wonder Woman just kind of casually chilling at Superman's funeral. They're like, oh, how did you know this? Superman. It's like, oh, we're just best buds. But whatever, right? The reason at first I was like, yeah, this is kind of dumb because like we all know he's gonna come back to life, and
Yeah, and
they
like shouldn't have Lois Lane and even his mom known this because I mean obviously he was gonna
those
even
in
I knew like he was gonna like come back from the
Yeah,
dead.
and like the last shot of the movie, of course, is like the air lifting up, like he's gonna fly, like he's alive. But thinking about more about it, like especially like for the last day, I realized that like what they're trying to do is they're like, yeah, Justice League is coming next, and that's the next. Aside from Wonder Woman, which is like a prequel kind of movie, next movie is Justice League One, and yeah, like I think what it's allowing them to do is like Batman said with Wonder Woman, he's like, yeah, we're gonna have to go find these other metahumans and create a team because I feel bad forces coming on, Darkseid, which they reference in the dream sequences, which we'll get to. But yeah, like the the it allows them to have like a little like time without Superman, without like most OP character ever written, so that they can at least have like a little bit of the beginning of Justice League without him, and then he comes back and fights, and he could have like a cool entrance and stuff. Going to that, talk real quick about a lot of Easter eggs in this movie. Great. And then in that, like the dream sequences that we have were really good, especially the ones where Batman is basically seeing like what he thinks the future of Superman stays, like this powerful is, and it's really well done. Where basically Superman is this reign of terror, and he has this killer army, and the world's basically a Mad Max looking world, and Superman just kills anybody who gets in his way, and like those sequences are really well done, really brutal, and it kind of it makes you feel for like why Batman is actually this harsh. Because at some points, you're like, what, like Batman, like calm down,
Yeah.
like come on, like he ain't that bad. But when you see what he's thinking, it's like, oh, okay, I kind of get it. And hopping around that, like just the movie in general, like I'm just really upset that people are panning this for like reasons like and yeah, I before I watched this movie, I saw like Metacritic and Rotten Tomatoes, and I saw the scores. I didn't read any individual reviews because I didn't want to get that to like mess with my head. But the whole movie, I was just like, okay, when is this movie gonna get bad? Because like we're going through the movie, I'm like, this is really good. Then we go through, and then like basically I'm getting to the end. I'm like, where's the bad part? I'm like, and then I'm watching Doomsday. I'm like, Doomsday might suck, right? This is where it drops, and then I'm like, wow, they actually did a good job with Doomsday. They didn't just waste him. It wasn't dumb. And then at this point, when the movie ended, I talked to my friends. I looked at everyone around us. People are smiling. People are happy. And that's what you want from a comic book movie. You have these true diehard fans, and let me tell you, the people in our theater were like pretty diehard fans, and everyone enjoyed a movie. They enjoyed a movie about some of their favorite comic book characters finally coming on screen together and making one just amazing movie. And that's why I'm saying that like I think that the critics are just getting it wrong, and I think that the fans are doing a good job. There's a lot of fans saying out there like, "Hey, no, this movie's like amazing. Like, what are y'all saying?"
Maybe it's probably because I mean I don't know for sure, but maybe the critics haven't read the comic books. They don't really. I mean, I don't know. I mean,
Yeah, they're I don't know, like critics are so like all over the place.
they've seen so many movies. They have a set mind on things. So
But yeah, just like and like even like I know some people like again like hit on the story, but like I think like it was well done. It was simple enough for what it is. Lex and his motives are like amazingly well done, and the fact that he isn't like, hey, my plan is this. He basically throughout the movie has these quotes. And these quotes are really well written, they're really thought provoking, right? And you see a few in the trailer where he's like, power, the greatest lie is power can be in a sentence. The stuff like that. Like that stuff's so quotable. And you just see through his philosophy and his mind of life uh, through his dialogue, not from just purely like, hey, we're gonna like kill these guys by creating this. No, it's like this is his thought promotion. This is his thoughts. This is why he wants to kill Superman. He thinks as well he's a tyranny that like he doesn't want this power. He thinks he's too powerful. It doesn't, but he doesn't say it like directly, and it's inferred. And then the reason why he wants to kill Batman is because of this, because he stole the kryptonite, and like it's just he's just really well thought and created. On top of that, a few like other aspects like the music. Hans Zimmer is phenomenal. Like the music is amazing. Every
One of his
scene,
best.
yeah, one of his best. Like every song, every thing, every scene is just like booming music, and this music is like well produced, well created,
Yeah.
and
Every song that pertained to each character was definitely spot on. I mean, portrayed the characteristics and personality of each character.
yeah, it's just so good. Like I don't know, like the music's great. CGI like was great. Like Zack Snyder is gonna have this kind of like dark, grainy film over this the whole movie, and a lot of the scenes, like I'd say like every scene is probably like has some kind of like CGI edit, and it's really good. And I don't, and the set pieces are great. The acting is great. The music's great. The sound's great. Everything's like just really well done. And just hopping around everything. Uh, this the story like like why are people gonna like pan this one more than they would another like superhero movie some people are like, oh, so what was the plot, and I explained to them like Lex Luthor blah blah blah, and it sets up, and I think that's a great way to set up without just feeling like it's forcing Justice League down our throat like, hey, we need a super team. And like like if people are really questioning the story that much, like, hey, yo, explain to me the story of Avengers. Like what was the oh, Loki didn't like the Avengers and he wanted to kill them all with his army. Oh, okay, like I'm not hating on Avengers like phenomenal, but why now are you just like yo, come on, like, okay. But in summary, I mean, there's probably a bunch of other things like I'm just like eluding my mind right now. Anything else you want to say on top of your mind?
No, everything was covered like in detail. Everything that I wanted to say.
Yeah. I'm
I
sorry.
really have nothing bad to say about this movie. I'm equally impressed, equally astounded by the amazingness of this movie. When I first walked into the theater, I had a lot of skepticism. I mean, I thought the trailer was good, but I mean, I knew it was going to be a long movie. I wondered if there would be too much talking, not enough action, or weak action. Basically, I just wasn't sure if I was even going to enjoy watching this after a certain point. But no, I was hooked the whole time. And when I left the theater, I had chills and so many feels. You don't even understand.
The feels are real. And like like a good thing I didn't bring up was that like they break up the dialogue a lot. Like me personally, I could sit there 3 hours and listen to Batman and Superman talk, but I know that's not like what everyone would want to hear. But they break it up a lot, and
It
that's
was smart what they did. They did just the right amount of talking and then action, and then they did it all over again throughout the whole movie.
and it didn't feel like force action. They broke it up. Like Batman would have an action scene, or they'd have a dream sequence. That's where a dream sequence really came in handy. Where it's like, hey, blah blah blah.
And they didn't put too many dream sequences, which was
Yeah,
good. They didn't overdo it.
yeah, they weren't like no scene felt too long, and like the movie was long, I never got bored, and it didn't feel like rushed at all, and it didn't feel stretched at all. It was just perfect. Like at no point where I was like, oh yeah, they should have explained this more. I was like, no, I think we got everything we needed explained. And a few other like great scenes like references to the comics. Superman getting nuked. And him like in his dying state, like that was the deepest. Like that was a good scene, and it was a powerful scene. And yeah, just and I like that they did ground the characters more. We all know Superman is all powerful, blah blah blah. And Wonder Woman's all powerful, but they really do a good job at like giving each character in this respective universe their own power set, their own power level to say, kind of like how Marvel Universe is doing it, where they're not making like Hulk and Thor like crazy overpowered. They're like, hey, this is Superman is strong and he's crazy powerful, but he's not gonna be punching dimensions open like in the comics. Like he's Batman can't fight him in this sense if he's really smart. Wonder Woman is this powerful. Like they did a great job at balancing the powers, and I think honestly, like I think they have a great steady plate to create this cinematic universe, and there's a lot of good stuff to come. I'm really excited for it, and yeah, just I would suggest anybody who even likes comic book movies, like this is probably a top comic book movie. Is it the best one of all time? No, but is it a great movie and should everyone watch it and should it make $1 billion? Yeah, and yeah, that's I know there's probably a bunch of stuff I'm missing to say, and I probably regret not saying it later, but yeah, it's a great movie. Go watch it, and we both loved it. Our friends loved it. Theaters loved it. Please don't listen to like just some dumb critics who are just like panning at it. I think people are just hopping on the hype train. They're like, oh, the movie's bad. Hey, we gotta be cool because hating on Superman and Batman is great.
That's why I don't like reviews. Just watch it for yourself.
Yeah. I have to admit though that like sad Batman, sad Affleck, that sad Affleck movie or Affleck YouTube video that's going around is hilarious. Where he's like,
I feel for him.
dude, like he's just sitting there like thinking, it's like, oh man, it's Daredevil again. But yeah, go see the movie. It's good. We both loved it, and yeah, thanks for watching. If you want to hear more rants and stuff about like big comic book movies, subscribe and like and comment all that good stuff. And thanks if you watch the whole thing through or even watch part of it. Thank you. Not gonna give this one a solid score because I still have more process and stuff, but I would think it's probably like the 8-ish range, like
Yeah,
8 to
8
8.5, something like that, right? Good, like great actually, like a great movie. Well, thanks for tuning in, and see y'all next time.
See ya.